Hello, I'm Alison Roman, and welcome to Solicited Advice, the podcast where I get to do what I love most, give advice. Each week, I'm joined by a very special guest and several very special advice seekers as we do our best to solve all of, or at least one of, your problems. Everybody, please welcome my guest for this week. A fan does not really describe how I feel about you, Cat. I am more than a fan. I am a devotee. I am like full blown in awe of you and everything that you do. You are an actor. You are a comedian. You are a writer. You are a poet. You are a Princeton grad, which that I just found out. But I feel like I've been like aware of you and your work for so long, like from the grace of the internet. But I recently had the joyful experience of seeing you live, and it was probably one of the most like authentic, hilarious, mind-blowingly like dynamic performances I've ever seen in my life. Like I'm not like, yeah, not that I'm like going to a live show every night, but like as a person who kind of doesn't know how to describe what it is that you do specifically because you do so much, I feel so excited for you and about you. And I tell everyone I've ever met that they have to go seek you out and listen to your podcast, read your books, and see your shows if and when they're happening.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. You know, the feeling's mutual. And that word of mouth really means so much to me. It's like when someone gives an earnest recommendation, it can change the world.
In addition to like having basically like every hyphenate involved in a multi-hyphenate, you also have an advice column.
I do an advice column for W Magazine. No one knows why I started doing that, but I love doing it so much. It's so fun.
Nobody knows, as in like you don't even know why. You're like, why am I doing this?
Or even like sometimes I am giving advice that's so good, but I'm like, why do I not take this myself at all? Like I'm so evil to myself all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is the sort of reason why I can relate to that. Like it is my favorite thing in the world to tell other people, like from my perspective, how things should be done. And the advice is good, frankly, like if I do say so myself, but I treat myself like trash.
Yeah. We're raw. We're real. Get over it. Get over it and grow up. Exactly. What I forgot to tell you is congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, thank you.
How does it feel?
It feels great. It feels shockingly the same as it did before.
The pictures were divine. It's such a classic New York. I think I want to do a New York wedding too. I think that's the way.
Yeah, you're on your way, aren't you?
I am.
If you're listening, she wants to be on her way.
Ding dong. I'm not in a rush, but I'm excited.
You're very young.
I'm the youngest. So. I'm the youngest person out there.
Yeah, there is not anybody younger, and frankly,
thank you.
If you weren't so great, I would be jealous.
We have such different. It's so, yeah. I was just unpacking basically that I've been feeling the same thing since I was like 14, which is, you know, that I'm only worthy if I'm interesting and hilarious and a star, and otherwise I'm like completely disgusting.
Yeah.
Hold for applause.
Yeah. Well, so I'm glad you brought that up. I will say that part of why I loved your show was because it talked about all that in like a very, very hilarious, like obviously hilarious way, but also I was like, this is cutting deep.
Thank you.
Of like, if you're not performing, if you're not getting constant validation, then you're nothing and life is terrible. So
it's so hard. And now I feel like even like non-performers feel that way because our entire lives happen like on our phones. So if you're not getting validation, you're just like, am I even alive?
Yeah, it's really tough. Like going away for any period of time on your phone, you're like, I have to take a break for my mental health. And then you're like, wait, is this somehow worse for my mental health? Because
I know.
It's
I know.
the worst.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that we should take our first caller. Hi, Erin. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's so nice to meet you guys.
Hi, Erin.
So nice to meet you.
This is so exciting.
It is exciting. It's so random in my world. So I'm happy to be here and kind of like.
It's honestly random in mine too. Kat does this for a living, sort of. I mean, she does a lot of things, but yeah. She's a vocational advice giver and podcaster. I am a mere dabbler, but we're in the same boat. So it's a safe space. How can we help you today?
So I have some new neighbors. I live in a house. I'm in Atlanta, actually. So I live in this like really great area. I've been here about 5 years. There's these new people. We have this tiny little street. It's sort of like we're in this little enclave that's about forgotten about by the rest of the city. And it's a gravel road, but it's a public right of way. And
Charming.
it's only like one lane, and they keep parking like in the middle of it, basically. So no one can get through, including the trash collection. So the trash collectors are now like, they're really cool guys, but they don't have patience. Like they don't have time for anything.
Are they single or what?
They're busy.
I mean, I work out outside sometimes, and they definitely stop and like say hello and give me tips, which is nice. Yeah, so now they're just grabbing the cans and throwing them all in my driveway. And the new people like don't even notice that their trash cans are like all in my yard/driveway. So I'm trying to figure out how to like talk to them without being like the old lady on the street, like, hey, hey kids, like this is how it works. Or
So you're feeling like something's got to give. Like things have to change.
Well, so now it's kind of funny. So that was a couple. So I was like, ooh, I could put them back where they go, but then why am I doing their work for them? Or I did the more passive aggressive thing, which was just put them in the middle of the street where they have to park, so they couldn't park. And had to address it. Terrible.
Neither of those are options, unfortunately.
Now the trash collectors aren't even picking up their trash. So they just have like 2 weeks of trash out there because they can't get through, and they're not going to mess around with it. So.
I needed a map or a diagram. I have to be honest with you.
It's kind of like an alley. Like if you were, you know how like some old neighborhoods have alleys running in the back of the houses?
Yeah, like horse and buggy.
Like horse and buggy.
Cute,
I think this was originally an alley that in the early 2000s, a developer maybe didn't go through permitting and just built some houses on it.
Okay, so do you get the impression that they're doing this because they don't know or because they don't care?
I would say both.
Right. Don't know, don't care.
Yeah, I think don't know, don't care.
I feel like it's time for a classic, slightly passive-aggressive, handwritten note on the car or at the door. Give them your number. Be like, if you want to chat about it, I'm here. I know it's so annoying. Like, LOL. What do you think, Allison?
I think that, but I would actually go more direct. I would actually it's not passive aggressive. I think it's direct. And I think you go over with like the best attitude you've ever had in your entire life with like the sunniest disposition. And like talking to strangers is tough, and they are effectively strangers, and you don't know how you're going to be received. But I think step one is like knocking on the door and being like, hey guys, like just wanted to let you know I was talking with the trash guys and they're having a really tough time collecting, on the block. And, sort of I've known them for a while. So as a favor, I told them I would talk to some people in the neighborhood. Like, I think making it feel like it's not just them and being like a lot of people on the thing, like everybody who lives here doesn't know, no one told you. It's like, a very quirky situation. And you can, I don't know, not to be like lie, but you can be like, oh, like they'll start giving out fines if they're not able to like
right.
Yeah.
Well, let's stop picking up your trash. Like, did you notice they haven't picked up your trash, and that's why?
Did you happen to notice there's trash everywhere?
As like a person who, so when I moved into my first like apartment alone in New York, I moved in and it was the first time I had signed a lease for myself, even after living here for like 8 years, because I always had roommates or was like moving in with someone. Like, I didn't know anything. And one day I went to like go cook something because I do that, and the gas didn't turn on, and I was like, what's going on? And I called the landlord. They're like, we can't help you, like the gas is on in the building, da, da, da. And I'm like, okay. And then I asked somebody else, like, did you sign up for the gas company? And I was like, what? They're like, no, you have to like call and set up an account, otherwise they won't turn it on. And I was like, okay, like didn't know, just fully didn't know.
Same exact thing happened to me. I had no idea. I was like, all these little
Didn't
things about being alive are so boring and annoying.
Yeah. Are they especially young?
You don't know. They are. They're very young. So young so that their parents moved them in, which I was impressed with.
That's very sweet.
I'm so scared of confrontation, Erin, that I'm like, here's what you need to do. You need to plan and throw an elaborate party. Casually invite them to your house. Become really, really close with them. And then when everyone's like drunk and dancing, be like, oh my God, this is so stupid. But like, there's trash all over your house. And then like explain what's happening.
Aren't you embarrassed?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. If I had to guess, these people have like, if they're that young and this is like their first time on their own, it probably has never occurred to them that they have to be the ones to like take their trash away. But like, also maybe they moved from a different city where like this was more taken care of. Like every place I've ever lived has different rules about trash. And sometimes I'm like, what? Like I can't just like put my trash here? Like it is hard.
And it's less about the trash
truth.
and more about blocking the street so that the trash can't
Okay,
get
so
through
step
to
one,
pick
the
it up.
trash
It's
is
more
an
that they
issue.
just can't, like, they can't access the trash.
You
So-
could also rent a police outfit and or like a traffic
and just roll
cop
up. Yeah.
and pretend to give them a ticket for parking illegally.
Oh my gosh, they've already seen my face too. I had surgery
Disguise.
recently, and I ordered a microwave for this place, which is weird because I don't even own a microwave in my house. But it got delivered to them, and of course, it just sat on their porch. So I sneakily, I knocked on the door, no one came. I wasn't allowed to lift anything, so I had to sneakily roll it off down the stairs.
That's a really
and
sad
finally,
image.
they came out and they were like, "Hey," I'm like, "Oh, hey." They're like, "Oh, we were wondering whose that was. We were gonna try to figure it out." I was like, "Oh, no problem. By the way, can you pick this up for me because I'm not supposed to lift anything?"
Oh, that's
I
nice.
feel like this is like the start of like a Brittany Murphy,
awkward friendship.
Dakota Fanning, coming of age movie where like maybe they're gonna teach you something, but only you know what I mean.
Maybe
walk
how
over
to
there
relax.
and say, "Hey, have you heard the new Olivia Rodrigo record?" And just start playing it on your phone and be like, "I wanna get him back," and then see him and connect with them. They're young. They're young.
They don't want to feel under attack. They moved out of their parents' house. They don't want to feel like you're their mom. They do want to feel like you're not mad at them. You're just disappointed that you can't park your car where you want to. I was such an idiot at that age. I did anything. And it's only because you don't know. And only until someone's like, hey. And you sort of do have to reckon with the fact that they might be like, ugh, you can't park there. My neighbor's a total bitch. And you have to be okay with that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Don't be afraid
real.
of that.
That's real.
And you're not. You're a wonderful person. You're a law-abiding citizen, and you just want the best for your street. But
rules.
I'm just they might just be like, ugh, she doesn't get it. And you're like, yeah, I totally don't get it. Please don't park here. You can't.
I think the takeaway is sometimes you got to be the bad guy or girl. The bad girl. Be the bad girl.
I know. Be the bad girl.
I like the idea
of writing. I like the idea of writing tickets.
Totally.
Yeah, be nice and bad. Be nice and bad. That's my favorite combo. I love to be nice and bad at the same time. Totally. And I think it's come at it with compassion and understanding. They're not trying to be deliberately annoying or inconvenience anybody. They just don't know. And so go that route. And then if in a month they're still doing it, then you can start
dirty.
leaving it. Then you can bang the metaphorical broom on the ceiling. Is that a thing?
Right, from downstairs.
Yeah.
From Friends, I think.
Yeah. Classic show.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. We
Thank
hope that
you
they stop
so
parking
much.
there.
This episode of Solicited Advice is presented by Maker's Mark. If you're a fan of my YouTube series, Home Movies, you probably know that we took a little field trip to the Maker's Mark distillery in Loretto, Kentucky earlier this year, where we honestly just learned so much. Something that really inspired me was the story about how Maker's Mark was originally created by the extremely impressive duo Bill and Margie Samuels. Bill had a perfectly fine bourbon recipe that was passed down to him family to family, but Bill, a man after my own heart, decided that perfectly fine would simply not do. So he burned that 170-year-old recipe, literally, in pursuit of a newer, better version. And that version is still the Maker's Mark we know and love today, made with that classic soft winter wheat to achieve that smooth finish. And I can relate. When I'm creating recipes, my Virgo placement would honestly never settle for something that's perfectly fine. I only settle for perfection, even if that means burning it. Not literally, but you get it. It's safe to say that Bill and Margie nailed the perfect recipe with Maker's Mark, designed to stand the test of time. So next time you're out, grab a bottle of Maker's Mark and cheers to them. Cheers to yourself. And cheers to burning things in the pursuit of something better. Cheers. Maker's Mark makes their bourbon carefully, so please enjoy it that way. Maker's Mark Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 45% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2023, Maker's Mark Distillery Incorporated, Loretto, Kentucky.
I feel like we handled that really well.
I think Aaron and those teens are going to be best friends. Well, I think they're like 14 for some reason now.
Yeah, that would be even more concerning if they were. But I'm just like, I was definitely my neighbor's worst nightmare when I my friends and I lived in a house in Santa Cruz when we were 18.
Ooh.
And it was like off campus and definitely in a neighborhood where it's like families and adults. And you're sort of at that age kind of playing house and you're like, I'm an adult too, but like you don't know the social code of like what it means to be a good neighbor.
Right.
And maybe she's going to be the one to teach them.
That's beautiful.
Hi, Jenna. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. This is a dream.
Oh my God, you're a dream.
Jenna, what the heck is going on?
Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk to you guys. I can't even explain it.
Where are you zooming in from?
Fans.
Where are you?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Beautiful.
So,
how can we help you today?
yeah, so so I live with my sister in D.C. Love it. I'm about to turn 23. And some of my
That's the youngest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Wow. What's it like?
It's we're out here. It's the trenches.
Do you like Olivia Rodrigo?
My friend is literally about to try and buy tickets for her MSG show, so we're keeping
fingers
those
crossed.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk to you guys. So I live with my sister and some of my best friends also live in DC, so super lucky to have them all here, but I have a fully remote job. And my coworkers are kind of at like a different stage of life than me, have families and kids and the whole thing. And so my question to you guys was kind of what you've done in the past, how you make friends in a new city, especially when you have a fully remote job and don't have kind of the in-person like work specific environment where you're like, oh, we're grabbing drinks after work or that kind of thing. I've do that with my friends on my own now, but looking to meet some new people. I'm in a fairly new city. I've lived in DC for about a year. But yeah, looking to get out there.
Oh, I love friendship. I love this.
Me too.
What is the line of work that you're in? You don't have to get specific if you don't want, but like what generally is your work?
I work in journalism. So I do more like tech stuff, but I work for a broadcast news show. And but I'm fully remote, so kind of help with our websites and that sort of thing. But yeah, and my coworkers are awesome, and I have met them in person a bit, but it's not like we're doing a weekly happy hour sort of thing. Like it's very few and far between. So yeah, just like looking to get out there otherwise, but not really sure how.
Totally.
And are you like, when you talk about like meeting new people, are you talking also specifically like in like a networky way, like people that you can talk to about work and about like what you do for a living, or just like blanket statement, you want to make new friends in a new city?
I think a little bit of both. Like I think more honestly personal friends. Like I went to college, I went to University of Maryland, so not far from here. So I feel like I have a pretty decent professional network. Obviously always like looking to grow that where possible. But just like friends, just like other personal life friends or relationships. I'm single. I don't I'm not like
happening, Jenna. It's all happening. You want to make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. Okay, Jenna.
Yeah.
Everything is coming to you. You have the best energy. The classic answers are like, you're gonna join. What are you gonna join a sports league? Do you like any sports? Are you gonna do an improv class? An amazing, humiliating way to make friends. What else? What are the other classics, Allison? I feel like there's other activities that adults do.
I was gonna say like activity based, but as a person who would never do that, like none of those things
I'm not a sports girl.
Yeah,
I'm like a sitting at home watching home movies and your Netflix special kind of girl.
Oh, I like that.
Right,
so,
baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry,
we love to hear it. The crossover that everybody did know they wanted. Yeah, I think like, you know what actually I like doing, and I still do this now, and I still meet people this way even if I'm not trying to, is going to a restaurant and eating at the bar.
Ooh.
And doing it alone or with one friend, because you're sitting so close to other people that it's very easy to kind of meet people in that way. And if you're into food and you like restaurants, like you're sort of around like-minded people. But it's like sitting at the bar to me is such like a cool, good locals move too. So like, you know that like you're going to your neighborhood spot, like you sit at the bar, there's somebody next to you, they probably live in the area, like even striking up a conversation of like, oh, have you had that? Is it good? Like, oh, what are you drinking? Or whatever is like a fun way to talk to people. And you might not leave that experience being like best friends, but it is sort of like a way to like next time you see that, I don't know, it's like that's like step one of just being open to it, I feel like in a public setting.
That's kind of genius, because I like trying new places and whatever, but it's like I'm always, we'll take the table, but the bar, and me and my sister go and try places all the time, so
sit at the bar.
How perfect.
Yeah. Flirt with people even in a friendly way. Like I love friend flirting.
Oh,
it's so fun. Flirting doesn't have to be romantic or sexual. Flirting can be like a friend flirt.
Love it.
I love that. Probably my best kind of flirting, I'll be honest. So.
And if you are dating, like you're gonna, even if you don't end up dating that person, you might meet their friends or hang out with a big group of people. And soon you'll be the most popular.
Your neighbors?
Yeah.
Like, do you have neighbors in your area?
Yeah, I live in a like row house converted into apartments.
Ooh,
and
nice.
So I'm friendly with the people that live above and below. Definitely like friends, and like for bigger, like we watched the election together, very DC. And
Politics, absolutely.
Yeah, and Halloween's a big deal around here, like Halloween Town kind of vibes in the neighborhood. So
spooky.
Are you gonna dress up?
It's giving Barbie.
Barbie, that's a fun one.
Which Barbie?
I don't know.
Classic.
I just have to get my hands on some pink and figure it out. But
you know what I think the nice thing about Barbie costumes this year is that I think you can just invent a Barbie.
Totally.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to be the Barbie in the movie. Like
I'll be like curly hair
be like,
Barbie.
oh, I'm like farmer Barbie.
Yeah, love it. Chef Barbie.
I also feel like going to comedy shows or like bands you like in the area is a great way to meet people, because you can go by yourself and then you have all this stuff in common to talk about. I feel like people go to my shows alone all the time and then end up finding community, which is why I do what I do, baby. But I think that's fun.
It is. My dad actually, who's like almost 70, or no, he is he? No, he's almost 70. Yeah, whatever. Sorry. I know how old you are, Dad. Sorry. He goes to concerts all the time by himself and like makes friends. Like fully. My dad will also talk to anybody. We went to a bar over the last weekend when he was in town, and my dad fully got up from the table that we were all sitting at to go take a photo with a man that he thought looked like himself. And my sister was like, he has like a full photo album on his phone of Dan Roman doppelgangers, where like he sees someone in the world and it's like, this person looks like me, I have to go say hello and we have to take a selfie together.
Naturally.
That's
unhinged.
amazing.
I'm not suggesting that's what you do, but it is an approach. But I think like he goes to a lot of like rock shows. Wow, I'm 1,000. Jenna, do you still like me even though I said rock show?
Yeah, deeply
okay,
obsessed.
thank you.
Yeah.
But he like meets so many people that way, and I think that like you doing things that you already like doing, in the place, eating improv comedy, you will meet the people who also like doing those things. I've been like in LA, this happens a lot. My sister did it, and I have a friend who did it. They started taking acting lessons even though they're not interested in acting, because they heard or read about or something that it like made them more comfortable speaking to other people, or like there's like something there. That's maybe bad advice. I'm not
no, but it's true. Something to, I missed my junior year of college because of COVID. And I feel like it kind of made a little gap in like I'm a really social person. I think I still am, but it definitely like, there's a level of hesitation that I don't think there was before. I don't know if that's just growing up or whatever. And then, I've been told, because I have this conversation a lot with different people, and people are always like, oh my God, I can't imagine graduating in your first job and you don't have a workplace. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of whatever, I'm used to it now.
You're
but
like, I did feel fine about it, and now I
until
don't.
everyone started making me feel terrible. No, it's not that. I just think, it's kind of hard to like know how to approach people in a situation when you're not already comfortable, but it like is kind of obvious. Yeah, just like keep doing things you're comfortable with, but try and make the conversation, which
I also think hosting is really important. And I do think it's cool if you were to maybe talk with your neighbors and be like, should we host like a party on Halloween, or should we host or whatever? You can decide which apartment you want to do it in, but you all pitch in on the cost. Like, okay, apartment 4 will get the drinks and apartment 2 will get the whatever, like the grapes peeled to look like eyeballs. Like, I don't know what you do at a Halloween party, and you all invite 5 to 10 people, whatever. So it's
that sounds so fun.
That's such a good idea.
Your people are mixing with their people, and like you might walk out of there and being like, wow, I no longer want to be friends with the people on this floor. But it's all information. I think that like approaching it like that, like you're gonna have to meet so many people to find your people. It's just like dating. It's like finding a therapist. It's like anything, but like it shouldn't prevent you from just beginning. And that's just like, you're like, well, I'm starting the journey now. And like, I met amazing people in New York when I first moved here through work. I'm still friends with a few of them, but most people I was friends with when I was 23, I'm not really friends with anymore. Or like I am, but we all live in different cities, so it's not like they're a part of my network. And I met some of like my favorite people later in life, like, 35 and after. Not that far after, because I'm only 38, but thank you.
No, I love it.
You really do.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
Thank you. This was so helpful. Truly. I was just excited to talk to you guys, but this is actually like
well, anyone's going to be excited to be your friend, so that's all you need to know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was going to kind of close out with that as well. Like, you are already like so gregarious and open, and you exude joy and radiance and positivity that I feel like you could go to Trader Joe's and make friends.
Totally.
Oh my God.
You're having a good time.
That's the plan.
People are going to want to spend time with you. And like asking people out on friend dates can be so weird because you're like, how do you do that? But I have also started doing that like in my older age. And just being like, oh, let's go to dinner. Let's get a drink. Let's do the thing. And like, sometimes you do that and you're like, that was weird. And sometimes you're like, oh wow, I made a new friend. It's so nice.
It's
just
so
like
true.
else.
Usually it's really fun, but every now and then I'm like, why am I having coffee with this person? I'm in hell. But anyways, don't worry about that. Hey, Jenna, don't worry about that.
Jenna, we're sure that won't happen to you.
I'm crossing my fingers. All will be good. This was
great.
super helpful though. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love you guys.
We love you.
You rock. You rock and roll.
Are you good at making new friends?
I feel like I'm lucky, and you are too, in that like the work we do changes so often that we're always kind of around new people, which is a great way.
Yeah.
So I feel lucky that I meet new people that way and make friends. And yeah, I feel like some of my best friends I've only known like, 3-4 years. I know it's funny when you're 23. Do you have like old friends from growing up that you're still close with?
One of my best friends that we met when we were 5, like on the first day of kindergarten. And like, yeah, and we don't live in the same city. We have very different lives, but she's like a person in my life and will be forever. Like, and at that point, it kind of like transcends and you become like sisters. Yeah. But the people that I've met, like, there's been like so much ebb and flow, and I think especially in New York, people come and they leave because they're not dedicated to the city.
I know,
and it shows, and they fucking bail on us. And
I've been feeling that a lot lately.
Yeah, it gets more intense as you get older too, because people start having families and kids, and then they move away more spiritually too, and like you kind of the relationship shifts.
Oh, it's depressing.
But no, it doesn't have to be that way.
Wow. Okay.
Some of my friends and I have gotten closer since they had kids.
Really?
Yeah, because I think like you sort of like, it feels like a lot of things melt away, and you're like, wait, I actually don't need any of these other people or like activities, and you kind of trim down, and like I made the cut for a lot of people.
That makes sense.
If that tells you anything about me.
I love it.
Bid farewell to our sweet, sweet live callers. It was too short. It was not long enough. We had the best of times. But don't be sad. We are taking more callers with our Chef's Kiss hotline. Chef's Kiss hotline is sort of like the rapid fire, like if you have a question that I feel like is helpful for the masses, like less specific, more general. They tend to skew cooking, but we've heard all sorts, so feel free to chime in. And if you listening have a question and you would like help with it, you can call our Solicited Advice hotline at the extremely catchy phone number 856-502-4816, or go to AlisonERoman.com/podcast and write in your question. And then we could contact you and you could be a caller live with us. I feel like if anyone could turn that number into something actually catchy and not just a random assortment of numbers, which is impossible to remember, it's you.
Okay, can you say it again? Let me write it down.
Okay. It's 856 502
502
4816.
4816. Okay. And guys, remember to call 856 502 4816. Boop.
Oh, God, that was good.
They'll
was
never
so
forget
good.
that.
No. That is an
It's
earworm
hard.
if I ever heard it.
506. Well, the only thing that's
We gotta
helpful,
call-
the only thing that's helping you is 856 502 4816. Boop, boop.
Yeah, the boop at the end really does a lot of heavy lifting.
That's all we have.
Yeah, but honestly, that couldn't have gone better. Thank you.
Perfect. Anytime.
Hi, this is Katie. I'm calling from the Bay Area, California, and I find preserved lemons very confusing. Are you using the whole lemon? Are you like peeling it? Yeah. How do I find this confusing? Thank you so much.
Catherine Cohen, do you want to take that one?
Well, my only memory that's been unlocked is I did make an Alison Roman date lemon chicken thing. Is that ringing a bell?
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, like, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Use the whole lemon.
Yeah, I did. And
Okay.
that was technically a fresh lemon, but the same answer applies. So
Ah.
this is correct. Yeah, I would say like in all of the questions I get about cooking, specifically with my recipes, people, when I say like use the whole lemon, where I'm like 1 lemon, like finely sliced, seeds removed, finely chopped, like people are always like, whoa, what? Is it the whole lemon? And even if I say the whole lemon, so I feel like every time it bears repeating, like unless otherwise specified, like use the whole lemon. But I do specify the whole thing. But so preserved lemon is a lemon that is basically preserved in salt, and they're traditionally made just by lemon and salt. So like when I make them at home, you take the lemon, you cut it in such a way that once you add the salt draws the moisture from the lemon, like all the juice comes out. So you get this like very, very intense, deeply salty brine made with just the juice of the lemon and the salt. And they're submerged. So not unlike a pickle, or you're making like sauerkraut or kimchi, which I know you do all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is delicious. And then they effectively cure for, I think you go anywhere from like 4 to 8 weeks, maybe 8 to 10 weeks. Don't fact check me, or do fact check me, and we'll put in a different word or number when I say. I just kind of let them go on my counter, honestly, and I look at them occasionally without like touching them, and then like 3 months later I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I made those preserved lemons. But they're readily available in most stores, especially if you're like a Whole Foods shopper. And when you use them, the only thing you're not using is the seed.
How do you get the seeds out?
They literally, the lemons are so soft at that point. Like once they go through the preserved process, they turn.
Oh, are they mushy? Okay.
They're like very tender. It's almost as if you boiled a whole lemon. Like
Wow.
the salt, like everything breaks down. They become like very, very tender. They become very, very soft, very, very juicy. But like the bitterness of a whole lemon, like when I'm asking you to do that lemon date chicken recipe, goes away. It's like mitigated. So it's like a preserved lemon does have like a different purpose, a different flavor, a different whatever. It's almost like jammy
What do you eat it
versus
with?
like a lemon. What do I eat it with?
Hey, Alison, what do you eat it with? A new segment.
What don't I eat it with? I like to chop it up and I like to put it in salads. I like to sprinkle it over pasta. I like to put it
la
into
la.
shortbread cookies. I like to eat it with like crushing it into butter and like putting that on a chicken, stuff like that. It has like a slightly fermented, like bitter, sour, tangy, floral, lemony flavor. But it's not a replacement for like a fresh lemon. I use them in conjunction with a lot with each other. There's a really good I'm so annoying. Every time I talk about a recipe, I'm like, it's mine. Like, of course it is. It's like you finally chop a preserved lemon and you add lemon juice and some vinegar and grated garlic and you spoon it over like a fish or a chicken breast
Sounds
or
delish.
vegetables. It's so good. It is like a very, very good ingredient. And I'm like a pretty big advocate for not buying a ton of like condiments because I prefer making things from scratch or like just using vegetables and like basics. But preserved lemons are like top 10 pantry item for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to dive in to the world of preserved lemon.
Get in there. You'll love it. I guarantee it.
Hi, Allison. This is so cool. I'm Emily. I'm calling from Vancouver Island in Canada. And my question is, since reading your cookbook, I see flaky salt a lot and I cannot find it anywhere in my town. It's limited. I have diamond crystal salt, so that's what I've been using in place. Is that okay? And if not, should I just get flaky salt on Amazon? Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Emily, don't make me say support Amazon. Don't make me do it. But I'm going to tell you that Diamond Crystal is my preferred brand of kosher salt. It is not a replacement for flaky salt.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you, Alison Roman, I ordered flaky salt from a grocery delivery and they brought me like smoked flavor.
No.
And so now,
they
but I
shouldn't
have
make
so
it.
much of it. Now I'm just like, this is the weirdest experience to
You
sprinkle.
use it?
Well, I have it.
I mean, how much was the box?
No memory. I have so few things in my kitchen that I'm just like, this is what I have.
What do you put it on?
Sliced tomato.
Okay.
It could be worse.
That could be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could actually be fine. That's like an example of like, I wish they didn't make that.
Totally.
Like it's not for the people.
100%.
It's confusing, the margin for error. It's like it's not good. And
It's
that
my
also is not a
fault.
replacement.
It's my fault for making someone else get my groceries.
Honestly, in New York, yeah, you should.
I
be
deserve
embarrassed.
it. Well, it's
Yeah,
hard
you're
to
not
carry.
living. You're not on Vancouver Island. Like you live in.
Honey, I
Village.
wish. I know, but I live in a supermarket desert. I'm going to be honest with you.
You live in the West Village. I'm sorry, no.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
But yeah, no. Have the box, and if you want to avoid shopping at a place like Amazon, there are other direct to consumer, like online shops. You can support a small business and ask if they ship. It's not like that's your only option, but look for a larger container so you're also shipping less frequently. Because I have like a big tub of Maldon salt, and like I get like big boxes of Jacobson flaky salt. Like they last forever. Like you're buying it like once or twice a year. So. Yeah. Also, next time you go on a trip, you can like buy it there. I don't know. I'm doing everything in my power not to be like, just add to cart.
This is Tyler in Miami, Florida, and I want to know what's up with rinsing rice. I never used to do it, but now I feel like everyone says or I don't know. Do you rinse rice?
No sign off. Okay,
I
Tyler,
love that.
Tyler, you're an icon.
I'm kind of into him.
Yeah, can we get him on the line?
Hi.
I'm confused now also, but rinsing. I am notoriously not a rice expert. I am notoriously like not a rice cooker. I've only recently started cooking rice for myself. I'm not very good at it. It is a learning process. It's tricky. Everyone I know that cooks rice well, that I've learned to cook rice from, my friend Danny, my friend Susan, they rinse rice forever.
Wow.
And that's like any rice they're cooking. And what Danny said is that he rinses the rice for 3 Yellow Submarines. So he sings Yellow Submarine 3 times. Like the refrain. Is that a refrain? I don't know. You can help me.
We all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. Wow, that's a long time.
I know. So 3 times, and that's when he's done. My friend Susan rinses the rice until the water runs clear, which is, I think, the most proper thing. But to answer your real question is why do people do that? Rice is starch. Rice is starch. And when the grain is polished, there's like excess starch on the outside. And that excess starch gives you something like a gluey, sort of cloudy cooking liquid, which makes your rice very sticky and like not perfect little individual grains, which is kind of what you're after when you're making steamed rice.
Oh, it's so hard to make.
Yeah. Like you'll notice, like if you're making risotto, which is also rice, you would never rinse it because that starch is what's helping the risotto become risotto. Like that texture, that sort of like porridgey situation. Or if you're making like congee or any sort of other rice porridge, you wouldn't rinse your rice. It's only for like steamed rice if you're making rice salad or just like a pot of rice or tahdig or whatever. Get rid of the starch. That's what you're doing. TLDR.
Hi, Alison. This is Liz from Miami. I want to know, what is your least favorite restaurant trend right now? Love you. Bye.
Oh, love this question. Kat, do you want to take this also?
No, I'm thinking about it, but I'm so curious to hear your answer.
I am such like a curmudgeon, frankly, that if something's a trend, I immediately hate it, which is so contrarian and so like, oh, of course you do. It's like, it's a part of my personality. I've always been this way. Sue me. You know, it's like, as soon as a thing becomes a thing, I don't trust it. I'm like, it's inauthentic. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I would say that like, also to even answer this question, like trends now also move so quickly that like, it's like impossible to figure out like how long, if it's even a trend, if it's a micro trend, is it like only happening in Times Square? Like, what is this even?
I would say that I'm just like, I feel like for years, people are trying to get me to eat cauliflower instead of carbs. And I don't want it. Cauliflower rice is not rice.
No.
I don't want like buffalo cauliflower. I want like a chicken wing. I'm just enough.
That's also not a real restaurant. Not to be rude, but if you're going to a place and they're serving you that, you're not at a real restaurant.
But they do that. Admit it. They do that.
They do. But I would also say that's like deep in the like home cook internet food world where it's like, it tastes just like pasta and you're like, it doesn't. You're insane. That's an insane statement. And I don't want to hear it. And it's not true. But I would say like people are, and God, this question, we could really spiral really quickly, but I will say that people are not respecting tinned fish the way that they should. And they're not doing it responsibly. They're opening cans willy-nilly. They're charging 30% to 70% markup on something that's already expensive. They're opening a can. They're giving you bread that's not toasted. Like the trend, it's like if you're going to do tinned fish as a part of your restaurant, it has to be fucking awesome. You have to like give me accoutrement. You have to like make it a perfect bite. You have to source the highest quality. Like you cannot have that because you think people want it, which I think most people don't want it. I think people think that they want it, but they don't.
It wouldn't be my first choice.
Yeah. And like, oh, you have anchovies on the menu. It's like, well, great. I can buy anchovies. I can open the tin and I can put them on a plate just like you did for me. And I can spend so much less. I'm so wrapped up in like money and value. Like if I think I'm not getting my value or I feel like I know they're ripping me off, I'm immediately furious. That becomes my least favorite restaurant trend. I'm like, you're charging me how much for what? Well, actually, here's one restaurant trend that I feel very passionately about. And I have a lot of conversations about because people disagree with me. What do you think about bread at a restaurant if they charge you for it?
Well, it usually means it's going to be good, but they shouldn't charge you for it. But when it's on the menu, you know it's going to be like warm with like a good butter. Ugh.
Contradictorily, perhaps, I will always pay for the bread because bread is really hard to make well. And it requires labor and time and space and ingredients. And like people are like, it's just flour and water. I'm like, yeah, and time and skill and like, you know, I'm like, I get it. Charge me.
Special.
It's worth it. I don't expect anything for free. But if you're going to charge me, it better be good. You know what? I mean, it's not a restaurant trend, but it is impossible to go for me to, with a good conscience, like in good faith, go to a restaurant that is like open for the sake of being famous on the internet, where they like make a food that's like looks a certain way or is like presented in a certain way, like for the eyeballs of the internet at large. Because I get it, everyone's got to get business, but it makes the crowd in the restaurants too insufferable for me. I'm like,
that's like everywhere now. I feel like
that's true. That is everywhere.
There's a place right
It's
next to me that just opened up. It's like, it looks like a cute Italian place. But then I zoom in, aka I walk by, and I'm like, oh, this is an Instagram place. You can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like they get the branding and the thing, and it's like a missing soul. And like a person with money was like, we're gonna make some money at this place because it's gonna be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, those are just never my favorites. And
When are we getting the Alison Roman restaurant?
Probably never, frankly.
Not
because
your
they're
dream.
really hard. And I guess
Yeah.
I'll caveat everything I just said with that, like owning a restaurant is really, really tough. And getting people to come in your door is really, really hard. And sustaining customers and doing things affordably and responsibly, blah, blah, like it's really fucking tough. And I wouldn't dare try to ruin my life by doing that. Oh, is that it?
Wow. Feels like we
That's
just
so fun.
started.
Yeah.
856-502-4816. Boop. We got it coming with a boop. Guys, call in. Don't be a coward and email your question. Call the number like you're in the 90s, okay? And leave a message.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Just like next time you are drinking wine by yourself, or like I find that actually like on Instagram, the reason I wanted to do this podcast is because the questions I was getting on Instagram were overwhelming to me, and I didn't have time to respond to them one by one. And I was like, we got to open it up. We got to open it up to the people. Everyone should hear the answer. There needs to be like a more streamlined process. But I will say that like most of the questions I get, like people will be like, I've had some wine and I was thinking, or like somebody asked me the other day, they're like, I just took a bunch of mushrooms. What should I cook?
That's amazing.
And I was like, honestly, you're not going to want to eat anything for hours. And I like, depending on how many you took, I would avoid anything with a flame, but like, no knife work, but like, you know, so next time you eat a bunch of mushrooms, call in the number and let us and ask us questions. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to go there.
Be you, live out loud, live, laugh, love.
Be you. And not every guest will be as hilarious and charming as you, Kat, but you know, I feel blessed that you took the time out of your day and your life to be here with us.
Oh my God, it was so fun. Thank you for having me. Thank you to everyone who had questions. It was such an honor. We really do need to we're going to get a martini and bread and catch up for real one day. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to ask you out on a friend date.
I would love that.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Maker's Mark. Solicited Advice is hosted by me, Alison Roman. Our podcast is produced by Jennifer Sullivan with the help of Elena Rodriguez Villa. Technical production and editing is handled by Red Rock Music, and our theme music was created by Joseph Monroe. And for questions, sponsorship inquiries, or anything else, please visit us at AlisonERoman.com/podcast.